Answer. Sige. It's your turn.
So can I share my screen na?
Yes po.
Disabled pa ng host.
Wait lang, sir. And sir, paki-check din namin ng co-host.
Okay, sige. Pero kailangan mo pa rin i-allow.
Ayan, sir. Paano ba yan? Oh, I'm lost.
Ayan, okay na.
Ayan, okay.
Ito mga estudyante na to. Parang yung iba rito, Okay. So maghanda rin kayo ng guys ng calculator at saka paper kasi magko-compute kayo. So sino pang hindi nakakakilala sa akin dito? Who hasn't been my student yet? So sige. O yung iba rito naging student ko na in the past. Okay. So as a background lang, before I start, doon sa hindi pa nakakilala sa akin, my name is Robert Niez and everyone calls me Sir Bob. Okay, so my past experience is with Panasonic. So I was the former head of design and product planning. So kaya I was very much familiar with product costing because when you do product planning, you basically prepare documents necessary for the approval of the product. That includes the schedule and also the feasibility, discussion with manufacturing, and also with marketing, and final approval of the president. So, ako gumagawa lahat nun. So not just industrial design, but approval of the entire product and have it approved for manufacturing. Okay, so itong product costing is basically a lesson that I keep doing every term, para sa mga graduating students because hindi siya madalas na ituturo. When you're taught anything about financial management or design management or production management, our subjects in industrial design, yung mga courses natin, it's mostly yung mga basic terminologies or yung basic costing, but not primarily for the costing of products that are for mass production. Okay, so probably you will be familiar with the terms kung nakapag production management kayo or anything, yung mga accounting subjects nyo or math subjects. So probably you have encountered some of the terms, but I have some sort of a background there naman before we start with that. So if you have questions regarding that topic, kasi minsan mahirap bumalik before we shift to the next topic, it's best for you to let me know if you have questions. Okay, so para tayo, smooth flowing tayo. We don't have to go back and forth with the topics. Okay, so basically, product costing is a question that a lot of you are constantly asking. Why do we need to learn product costing? And in some schools, like I've been attending thesis deliberations or presentations of other schools, these were basically neglected. Like in UP and also in Mapua, they consider this as a non-essential. No? But based on my experience as an industrial designer, it is a necessity for every designer. Okay, so bakit siya? Okay, so ito yon, purpose of learning product costing. Okay, so first is to make sure that the product is designed for its intended market. Cost achieved based on consumers' capacity to buy. No, there have been designs in the past, no, because I've been not just a thesis advisor, no, but I've been a juror, no, for thesis for more than 20 years na, no. Even while I was with Panasonic, I was being invited as a juror for thesis, and maraming aspect of that thesis wherein yung price doesn't match with the customer. Okay? Or not just that, yung product that you design is not based on the right customer. Okay? So it has to be matched, no, together. Okay? So dapat when you have a customer that is class D and E or class C, you have to design the product that is affordable to them, no? So that is one important factor when you consider product costing, or even when you design products, no? You have to study first kasi you might be designing something that is a lot more expensive than what the customer can afford to buy, no? So that's one aspect that we have to consider. And another, to make sure that the aspect of feasibility and manufacturability was considered, no? Because when you do thesis, no, you will be defending it, and you have to explain to your jurors how feasible it is, or how difficult it is to be manufactured. Okay, so marami in the past that I have not taught a product costing. I mean, marami silang hindi na ako consider. Okay, when they're doing their thesis, like for example, when there's plastic, there's always investment and there's always depreciation cost. Okay, so tataanan natin yan. You will learn about that. And another is to understand the business and financial aspect of industrial design, because not all industrial designs are just to help people out and doing things freely, no? So one aspect of industrial design is for the financial success and business success of the manufacturer, and not just that, no, the designer itself, no, kasi kasama kayo. You're not doing industrial design for free. You have to basically charge people also. Okay, so that's one aspect that we have to consider. And nandiyan yung profitability parate, yung kikitain. And also in consideration to that, dapat hindi rin sobra-sobra ang kita. So there's one aspect of yung if you don't know much about the costing or the profitability, no, like one student has presented before, nung kino-compute ko yung costing niya, ang profit niya, it's just a simple product, but when I computed the profit, umaabot ng billions, no, which is not feasible. At yung pa lang, that aspect pa lang is not feasible already. So kasing laki mo na yung mga ayala niyan. Your smart communication, Globe Telecoms, parang kasing laki mo na yung business. So parang that's impossible. That alone tells the juror that you didn't do your costing right. Okay, so parang it's already telling the juror there's something wrong with your thesis. Okay, so you would have to learn about that. And another purpose is for designers to learn to estimate based on target price, SRP. Okay, and with reasonable profit, like I said. Okay, so what do we need to consider? Okay, are there questions with regards to the purpose? Wala? Okay lang. We continue. Okay. So when we're teaching production management, And also, not just production management, even entrepreneurship o kaya any type of business, we always talk about the 7 M's. Okay? Yeah, 7 M's of production management. So ayan yung man, material, machine, money, method, measurement, and marketing. Now noon dati, no, when I was still with Panasonic, ang available lang is yung 4M. Okay? Then you just break it down. Okay? So yan yung man, material, money, at saka method lang yun. Okay? Then all the rest has been incorporated into those M's. No? But after that, just recently, ito nga, sinasabi natin, 7 na pala yung M's. Parang sa marketing, may 4 P's, di ba? Alam niyo ba yung 4 P's of marketing? So nadaanan niyo naman siguro yan sa marketing subjects niyo or courses, no? So anyway, for production management or for this costing, ang nilalaman ng ating product cost is these 7 M's, no? Just for you to as a background before we go into the details of costing. Ito yung man, material, machine, money, method, measurement, and marketing, no? So starting out with man, no? Ano ba yung man? When we talk about man, we talk about payment of compensation, sweldo. Okay? And not just that. Companies are doing expenses other than salaries just to like training people. Okay? You hire trainers to train people, and you provide also yung parang bonuses at saka yung benefits, no? Like yung health benefits, insurances. So marami lahat yan. It's all included in the labor cost, no? So dito papasok yan sa labor at saka human resources. Okay? So we need to know costing about this na hindi dapat nawawala yan. Okay? And there's 2 types of labor cost which we will discuss later. Okay? Next is the material. Okay? So material is a basic ingredient in management. Be it a service industry or product industry, most of the industries locate them self nearby to the availability of materials. Okay, so anong common term when we talk about materials? Nandiyan yung bill of materials. Okay, so tandaan niyo yung mga terms na yan, no? When we talk about materials, ito yung in the product costing, ito yung bill of materials. Okay, so yung materials, yung mga sources, nandiyan yung when you do product sourcing. So important yung probably if you're in a company, you will be encountering something like product, yung parang cost down, no? Cost down measures, no? Effective cost ng materials, no? Procurement services, no? Supply of materials, supply chain management, no? Lahat yan marami. And it involves yung total effects nun when we do costing. Nandiyan na yan sa bill of materials. And it's only a list, no, of materials required for costing. Okay, next is machine. When we talk about machine, no, we talk about also equipments used in manufacturing. So hindi hindi simple yung mga machines, and there are investments involved when you do do manufacturing. Like for example, kasi if you do it manually, no, just imagine assembling products manually, no, and it will take longer time, bibigat yung labor cost mo, and you can produce small quantities. So why do people invest on machines, no? So they can produce or provide the market with the much needed product, no? Or volume of products. Okay? So kinakailangan ng machines para maging efficient yung manufacturing. Okay? But these machines, when depreciated, no, based on volume of number of output, maliliit lang yung cost niya na dinadagdag sa ano. And some machines that are being used by manufacturers are already depreciated na. No? That means they want to earn profit from it. No? So it only becomes more expensive if they invest on another machine. And that is to make manufacturing more efficient also. And they only do that if they added volume again. Kasi like for example, this machine is outdated already. It can produce 200,000 per month. But the demand is asking for 1,000,000 or 500,000, no? Or more. Sabihin na natin, the demand is 1,000,000. You don't add another machine. You buy a better machine that is more efficient. Okay? And of course, it costs millions. It costs hundreds of millions sometimes. No? But it doesn't add that much on the cost because you're projecting it to be used for a long period of time. Hindi lang para dyan sa product na yan, para sa maraming ibang products pa. Okay? So minimal lang yung effect niyan sa product costing. Okay? Next is the money. Pera, hindi pwede mawala yan. No? How about your operating expenses? When you purchase materials, no? So this management is done to meet day-to-day business requirements, and the funds involved in meeting those requirements are allowed are known as working capital. So ibig sabihin, yung capital, when you talk about capital, yung ginagastos as investment. Okay? So yung day-to-day business, we call that operating expenses. Okay? So ang common term that you will basically see here or understand is about capital and investments. Okay? When we talk about investments, yan yung halimbawa, may molds, may die and molds. Okay? Lalo na pag plastics. And metals, forming metals, there are molds involved and it becomes an investment. Kasi you don't charge it one time per production. Okay? So it's projected. Okay? Dadaanan din natin yan. Okay? Wala pang questions? Okay? Sige. If you have questions, just unmute and ask the question. Okay? Sige. Next is method. Okay, when we talk about method, everything has a right way to do, and this right way is known as the method in management. In short, it means an art of doing. A set of procedures and instructions is known as a method. Parang PSP yan, no? Policy, systems, and procedures. The visible methods of a company include plans, policies, procedures, at saka data. Yan. So ano yung common term dyan? No? Yan yung production process. Okay, so when you're doing a product, every time, no, there's a new model that you have to come out with, no. Halimbawa, bago siya, there's always a system, no, production system that you would have to redesign and reestablish and spend again money for, no, just to prepare that production line. And sometimes, if you add features to your product, dumadami yung production. That's the time when people subcontract it outside, no? Kung hindi kaya ng capacity ng production, that's when you farm it out, no? Like when we talk about mass production, hindi lahat, not all is done in that line, no? Some portions are done by other companies, tapos you just have it delivered and it becomes part of your production, no? So there are ways on how to do it more efficiently and lesser cost. Okay? So yan yung method. So there's a system involved in production, no? So yan yung production process. Okay, next is the measurement. Measurements are quantified observations of some aspects or attribute of a process, product, or project. Measurements enhance our ability to understand things not accessible to our native abilities, and intelligence. So ano ba sa tingin nyo yung mga kinakailangan i-measure, no? So nandiyan yung standard time, gaano katagal, no? How long you would have to finish one product in sequence, no? And of course, you would have to measure how many you produce every second or every hour of every day of every month. Okay? So yan yung standard time. And of course, the cost involved in that production. Okay? And when we talk about manufacturing, we always measure efficiency. So merong formula when you do measurement of efficiency, how you can reduce time, no, in production, making it more efficient, and sometimes it involves design. Minsan yung product mo, pagka sobrang daming parts ang product mo, it becomes more inefficient. No? And sometimes it depends on our design. When we design a product that requires too many parts, too many assemblies, it becomes more expensive in manufacturing. Okay? So that's what we have to consider. And also quality. So paano namin measure by quality? You measure it by feedbacks. Okay? So, and number of defects. Okay? So, yung ratio ng defects. Okay? Ratio ng spoilage of materials. So, marami yan. Okay? So, that's when we talk about measurement, numbers yan. It's either percentage or definite numbers. Okay? So, next is marketing. So, ito rin yung nakakalimutan ng iba. Okay? So, when we talk about bakit kinakailangan kasama yung marketing, no? Because you have to sell the product. You don't just put it in that shelf and let it sell by itself. Hindi siya ganon. So you spend for marketing. You also pay for dealers who sell your product. Mga salesman, you have to pay for that salesman. Okay? And you even have to pay for displays, no? Halimbawa, magdi-display ka ng product yan. Dealers ask, amount of money just for you to be able to display. Okay? And for you to sell the product, minsan launching, product launching, pagka when you're doing exhibits, no? All of those are expenses. And also printing catalogs, printing what we call that, brochures, no? So lahat yun expenses. And of course, if your distribution is the entire Philippines or including international, you spend for yung sales yung sales and marketing in regions, no? Regional offices and also international offices. So kaya kinakailangan may cost yung marketing. Saan nila kukunin yan? They don't take it from profit. It has to be included in your product cost. Okay? So that's the seven M's of production management. So everything in this you will see in the product costing. Okay, do you have questions yet? Nothing yet? Absorbed nyo ba? Okay, anyway, you'll be getting this material from Miss Tani. Okay? Sige, so let's go directly into how to compute. Ito pala, yung sa M, cost to sell and marketing expenses. Yan yung mga common terms. Okay? Then, ito na yung product costing details. So, we have how many components, important components of product costing. Here it is. Okay? Number one is the selling price. So, bakit number one yung selling price? Kasi even before you do product costing, okay, you have to know your selling price. No? Yan yung una-una. Okay? And in all costing, nakaset muna yung selling price before doing other costings. No? Kasi yan yung target mo. Then, halimbawa, sabi nga ng iba, sir, paano yan kung sumobra yung cost? Doon sa SRP, i-adjust lang namin yung SRP? Hindi pwede. because it's a target. Okay? So if it's a target, you would have to achieve the target. Hindi lang siya target kuno. Okay? So it's a target wherein you would have to achieve, not just a number that you place there. Kasi may specifics yan. You set the SRP based on customer preferences and their ability to purchase the product. Okay? The next is
Pero
the
sir,
product. Yes.
hindi naman kailangan to the point na mahuli mo siya, no? Pag nasa ballpark lang siya ng SRP. Kasi medyo hypothesis nun yan, di ba, sir? Yung
There's a way on
selling
how
price.
to get the selling price. I'll show you in a bit, no? Papakita ko sa inyo on how to get it. So it's not just a ballpark figure that you have in your mind. There's statistics that is necessary to get it. Okay, like income classification, everything. So I'll show you, papakita natin yan. So lahat itong nasa number nandito, of course, except the overhead costs and yung general expenses will be explained to you. Okay? So meron tayong details. Okay? And if you haven't done that yet, you can ask me questions on how to, depending on your preference, your product itself, no? Kung ano yung product nyo, sir, paano ba kunin to? Then I'll give you some sort of a way how to get it. But basically, it should be on your research methods. Na dapat nandoon pa lang siya. Doon sa first stage ng thesis nyo, dapat it should have been established already. No? Hindi at this point, medyo late na yan. No? So dapat during your thesis 1, no? Thesis 1 pa lang, dapat na-establish na yan, selling price. Okay? So if you haven't yet, we can discuss further, no? Paano ba dapat kukunin? Okay? So may questions pa iba before we proceed? Sige. Daanan muna natin to, then we'll go through each one by one. Okay? Sige. Second is yung production quantity. Okay? So yung quantity, may specific yan. It comes from demand. No? Demand of the users. Kaano ba yung karami? And it's not, it's not a ballpark figure. You have to define it. Yung mga and you don't just use population and class A and B. It has to be specific to the product itself. Okay? So dadaanan din natin yan. Next is yung material cost or BOM, Bill of Materials. Okay? So yan yung it's only a matrix type of list, no? Ng lahat ng materials necessary for you to be able to assemble your product. Okay? Then the fourth is yung depreciation. So dito siya papasok dun sa investments. How to break your investments into a single cost, into a single product. No? I-break down natin yan. Okay? So next is yung labor cost. Okay? At kasama dyan sa labor cost is yung standard time. No? How long will it take for you to assemble the product? Okay? Then yung overhead costs like power, utilities, etc. Some other misunderstood the overhead costs to be part of labor. Kaya or labor cost yan nasa overhead cost. Hindi. Those are overhead costs are other expenses necessary. Okay? And general expenses, no? Kaya bakit may general expenses? Kasi nandiyan yung other expenses that you might have neglected to include. Okay? So we'll discuss that also as Then isa sa pinaka-important part of product costing is the operating profit. Okay? Hindi lang siya profit. It has to be anyway, the general term is profit. But in manufacturing, it's operating profit. It's the general term. Okay? Sige. Unang question is the selling price. No? So SRP, Standard Retail Price. When we talk about SRP, ito yon. And it's a customer-based pricing. Like I said, it's not a ballpark figure. You have to know your target market and your market's capacity to buy, and that's how you determine the target selling price. Okay? And it's based on classification and based on monthly income. Okay? It's not a yearly income, it's based on a monthly income. And you limit it down, no? Hindi lang okay, class A to class C. So lahat ng klase kukunin mo. Hindi yun yung entire market mo, no? You have to break it down and limit amount based on consumers' willingness to buy, no? When in your thesis one, you're asked to do surveys, di ba? So when you're asked to do surveys, you ask the customer. Kasama dapat ito sa customer question. How much are you willing to spend for this type of product? Okay? And sometimes when we do satisfaction survey, yun yung pagka may product ka na that you have designed, no? Then you want to confirm, no? If the customer, how much the customer is willing to spend. Then you show that product to a customer. No, although you do NDA, non-disclosure agreements with the customer, no, para hindi nila i-share yung information. Okay, kasi it has to be confidential. Okay, so you ask that customer, how much are you willing to spend for this product? Okay. In your case, you have your design set already, di ba? You could basically ask the customer, magkano ba nyo bibili nito? Okay? Then if they said this amount, if it's within the parameters of your yung costing mo, like yung sinet mong as retail price, di pasok na pasok yan. But if it's like for example, your intended SRP is 10,000, no? But ang sabi nila, gagastusin lang namin diyan 5,000 lang. So what happens to your design? So you have to go back to the drawing board. Ganon 'yon. Okay? So that's one way of looking at it, no? Kaya nga dapat it's customer based. Dapat sa una pa lang during your research, you should be able to establish that. Okay? Then from that survey, you establish your base price, no, for costing. Okay? And in getting there, syempre kinakailangan natin ng income classification. You have to understand our customers based on PSA, no, data. Family investitures and expenditures survey done by PSA or Philippine Statistics Authority. In this case, there could have been a latest data pero hindi pa naman outdated masyado itong data na to. It's 2018. No? Ibig sabihin, lumabas ito ng 2019, just last year. Okay? Pag sinabi nilang 2018 ito, that's last year, no? Ibig sabihin, it came out in 2019. Okay? So probably there's a 2020 already, no? Pero mukhang hindi pa definite yung figures. Okay? Iba kasi, it has to be a single standard amount. Pero when I search the internet, medyo may pagkakaiba pa yung mga data na nasa market. Okay? But in this data, it's basically standard na siya. Okay? Kasi pass na siya. So use this as a reference na lang when you're doing the costing. So ang latest naman when it comes to yung sa PSA is yung 2016 na data. When it comes to percentage naman. Pero every year ang binabago nila is this yung range of family incomes, no? Yung itong amount, yung salary, monthly salary range. Pero yung ratio at saka percentage niya halos hindi nagbabago. Like on this side, it's almost the same, no? Hindi siya nagbabago. They only change it after 4 years. So probably they'll do another one this 2020. Okay? So minsan pa nga nag-extend yun up to 6 years, no? It depends on the Philippine Statistics Authority. Okay? So last 2018, just to be able to use this figure, dapat 2018 pa rin yung figures natin, no, when it comes to population. So ang population is 105.76 million. Okay? Then the total number of household is 23.7 million. Okay? So paano nakuha itong household? Usually, no, yung mga previous data, they just divide the population, total population into 5, no? So when you divide it by 5, that means it's 5 family members as an average, no? Pero yung pala, they did the changes in 2016 wherein the number of household, no, nagkakaiba-iba per category, no? Like in the upper C, middle C at saka lower C, nagkakaiba-iba yung number of household. Okay? Yung proportion. So lumalabas dito is 4.46 as a total. When you talk about population and dividing it based on the number of household, lumalabas 23.7 million household. So paano niyo malaman? How would you know that what to use, no? If your product is basically a product that is used as an individual, no? Let's talk about a cell phone, no? Yung cell phone. A cell phone is an individual product. Okay? So you base it on individual statistics. Okay? So when you talk about household, it should be a single product per household. Ano ba yung mga per household na product? So those are, like for example, refrigerator, washing machine, color TV, no? And sometimes when we talk about like for example, let's talk about color TV. Hindi lang naman isang color TV per household. Pero it's not individual. Wala namang 1 TV per person. Okay? So yung 1 TV per household applies also to the lower income classes. Dumadami lang siya doon sa high end, doon sa mga higher income classes. But it also applies sometimes, no? When they're staying in a condominium, usually isa lang nga yung TV nila. Okay? Sa bedroom wala nang TV. Okay? So when your product is a household type product, so you use the data with the household reference, no? So in this case, we have two columns. Ito yon, number of household, then number of persons. So ito yung household at saka individual. Okay? So you use two separate data depending on your product, no? But no, if your product is some sort of a like intended for a specific market lang, or hindi pa nga siya market, it could be an industry product, or it could be a hospital type of product, then you use a different data. You use data available for hospitals, like for example ventilators. Okay? So ito yung timely na ang daming data makikita ng ventilators, di ba? Yung even the DOH data, ilan pa yung available ventilators, ilang percent are being used right now, and how many are necessary to purchase, no? And sometimes those products required replacement, no? Yung mga luma na. Okay? So it's a different way of looking at the market. No? So yung data mo has to be specific depending on its application. But if it's a commercial product, you have to look at income classes. No? Sabi nga nung iba before, sir, yung target market ko is yung amputee, yung disabled, no, with that uses the wheelchair because I'm designing a wheelchair. So ganun din. Let's talk about the disabled. Meron ding statistics, meron ding mayayaman na disabled. Meron ding class A, may class C na disabled. meron ding class D and E. So kahit pa disabled yan, they're applicable sa kanila yung income classes, no? Like class A, no? Class B, even let's talk about senior citizens na hindi na makalakad, no? So ganun din, they still need a wheelchair. But of course, if your target market is yung halimbawa, basic na wheelchair lang, baka yung mayayaman, they might purchase those expensive wheelchairs, no? Yung mga motorized or battery operated or something, no? So it depends on your market and intended product. Okay? So applicable yan dito, lahat. So this is your data. Okay? This is where you look for your information with regards to your market. No, basta consumer type siya. Anything that you buy sa market as a consumer product, you look for your customers basically in this data. Okay? Okay, so may questions tayo dito. How about if you want to ask questions regarding your product when it comes to the intended market, no? If you don't know yet, no, please let me know. Okay, so I could direct you to that specific customer. Paano? How to get that SRP, no? So because after this, you will be asking them. Dapat specific din yung questions mo. You don't ask questions to those who will not basically buy the product, no? How much are you willing to spend? Babalik tayo dito. When you do the survey, willingness to spend, magkano capacity nila? If your market applies to the middle class, so lahat ng middle class isa-survey mo. Okay? And if it still applies also to the low income classes, yung class D and E, no? In this case, yung class D and E, yung poor at saka low income but not poor, no? Kung applicable pa rin dyan, then you include them to your statistics. Okay? So, when we talk about washing machine, like for example, ang market ng class C, no? Kasi pagka class A or upper C naman, kasama naman yung mga fully auto na, di ba? So probably pagka twin tab, ang market natin is sa middle to lower C, at saka kasama yung D. Pero baka D, single tab lang. Okay? So parang ganon. It has to be specific. Okay? So wala pa tayong questions? So we go into quantity.
Sir,
Yes.
sir,
Yes.
for example, yung target market ko is offices. Ano yung bearing nun? Pwede ko pa rin bakunin yung data na yung galing sa last slide mo, sir?
Depende rin yan kasi may mga kung offices din, you have to be specific on your product kasi baka income class related din yan. Like for example, halimbawa maliliit na offices lang naman or malalaking offices. Like for example, we're talking about call center. No? Halimbawa call center. There's basically a statistical data when it comes to call center. Kami mga companies that are actually call center, doon mo kunin yung data mo. Okay? And you ask specifically those market. Huwag ka magtatanong doon sa mga nagtatrabaho sa factory worker. As a factory worker, hindi nila masasagot yon. You ask people that are affected.
Pwede ba ako, sir, mag-adapt ng...
Yes. Napuputol ka, Anthony.
Okay.
Again.
Ay, sorry.
Oo.
Sir, paano pag yung sa akin, in my case, drinking fountain, tapos meron na mga
Okay, sige. Medyo nag-stall ng konti yung ano mo eh. But I think I know your your product.
Ayun, yes. Ayun, sir.
Oh.
Yung meron kasi mga existing products na yung like a drinking fountain, hindi rin naman specifically on what office, parang what could work in a smaller office could also work in a bigger office with more quantity naman. Pwede ko kayang gawing reference yung costing nila ng mga existing products?
Reference siguro, if you want to be competitive in the market, syempre, sino bang bumibili? Kasi there are customers who buy a specific type of what drinking fountain. Pero yung iba, yung parang dispenser lang na may nilalagay na 5 gallon na water. Meron naman yung nagpa-pump out lang. Meron naman centralized, di ba? And
yes,
yes. But it doesn't only apply to offices.
Yun po yung
no. Sige, so pati schools, hindi lang naman so you have to know your general market. Sino bang bumibili ng drinking fountain? Okay? So hindi lang offices. Don't focus on just the offices kasi you have to know your entire market eh. So sino-sino ba 'yon? Even government offices bumibili niyan. No? How about public places where
yun nga po.
Na may drinking fountain din available. How about airports? No? Meron din drinking water, drinking fountain, no? Pwede doon. So know those entire then halimbawa kung kasama sila, kunin mo yung statistics noon. Ilang airport ba? Ilang offices ba, no? But sometimes i-disregard mo na yung mga maliliit na offices that probably requires just one, no? Baka isa lang bibili nun. So just for volume purposes, when we talk about quantity at saka SRP, how to determine your market, mag-focus ka na doon sa market na sandali, nawala na si Anthony. Naputol na siya.
No, sir, I'm back.
Nandiyan.
I'm back.
Okay. So did you get my naintindihan mo ba? So yung class A and B doesn't always apply. So it doesn't always apply, no? Depende lang talaga doon sa product mo. So this basically applies to products that are sold commercially, no? Sa mga dealer stores, sa mga But if your product is designed specifically for for households, no? Ito yung titignan mo. Okay? Yung income classes. Okay? Wala nang questions. Okay, sige. Now we go into production quantity, no? So production quantity, the same, target market then, no? Based on population, segmented markets, no? Class A, B, C, D, or E. Then the ratio of potential market, like for example, balik tayo dun sa wheelchair. So ilan ba yung disabled? Ratio ng disabled natin sa market that are amputees or uses a wheelchair. So ilang percent ang senior citizens, ilang percent ang amputees, no? So yun ang titignan mong statistics market. Pero like I said, may income classification pa rin yun. So ilang percent ang class A, B, C, D, or E. So, kung available yung data for the entire Philippines, you get that first, then ilang percent naman yung class A and B. So you can get the statistics based on this data, yung available data earlier. Okay? So ratio potential market or intended consumers, no? Like I said, halimbawa, ang mo is yung battery operated na so may specific target market ka is probably upper C at saka class A and B. Hindi bibili ang lower C at saka D and E kasi it's probably a lot more expensive for them, no? That's not affordable. So yun lang specific target market mo and look for that quantity in that data dito mo siya titignan. Okay? Then willing market, again, like I said, no? Ilan yung bibili? So usually when you present your are you willing to buy muna before you talk about price. So sasabihin nila, yes, I'm willing to buy. So that's a unintended customer already. Then just get that ratio. Ilang percent yung nagsabi ng hindi, ilang percent yung nagsabi ng oo doon sa survey mo. Kaya nga important yung survey. We're not doing the survey just for dapat it has to relate to the need or demand of your product. So dapat malaki ang demand. Paano what if the customer yung the juror asks you, no? So meron pang demand, gaano ba kalaki yung demand niyan? Pero when you did the survey, 10% lang pala nagsabing yes, I'm willing to buy. So it's already a failed product. Okay? So you can do away with that. So you have to not just look for your market. You have to probably redesign your product or change the target market. So kailangan magbago ka na ng market. Okay? So yun ang when we talk about ratio of a willing market, it has to come from your survey. And you have to prove it to your jurors when you talk about the production quantity. You have to break it down from your survey. Okay? Then again, we're targeting for the costing, the monthly production. So yung monthly quantity. And when we talk about yung yung demand at saka we usually base it on a yearly basis, no? So yung quantity na yon, i-divide lang natin ng 12, we can get the monthly production. Okay? Kasi for the production quantity, it has to be based on monthly figures, hindi yearly. But it can start with the yearly. Okay? I-divide lang natin ng 12. Okay? So any question with regards to the production quantity? Somehow this is related to the SRP with regards to the demand. Okay? So meron tayong konting sabi ko, let's do a calculation. May paper ba kayo dyan? Mag-ano kayo ng paper? So, exercise. Dapat may exercise tayo, no? So, sasabihin ko kay Miss Tani na pagka sino nakasagot dito, may plus doon sa additional 40% doon sa grade niya. No? So, we'll be doing a computation on a product costing for the twin tub washing machine. Kasi medyo vague yung binigay ko sa inyong explanation doon sa This is one way for you to understand fully on how to run it down to the specific quantity, no? Kasi your jurors will be asking about it, no? Nasabi mo ito na yung intended, bakit yan na ba sa tingin mo talaga, no? So ito yung yung sa twin tub washing machine, how we do the costing. So first, syempre population, then since it's a household product, no? Kailangan natin gamitin yung household figure, no? Total number of households in the Philippines, which is, iba kanina 105 million yung population, but the number of household is 23.701 million. So, and we just take the upper, middle, and lower C kasi yun yung parang, these are the givens. Okay? So, we have to compute from this. So from the target number of household and the target market of the entire Class C market, which is 11.9 million, you break it down again, no? To the target market, which is 30% non-owner. Kasi ito, mga owners na to. Total washing machine ownership is 70%. No? Ibig sabihin, meron pang 30% na non-owners doon sa Class C na yon. So what we need to do is from 11.9 million, we take the 30%. Kasi ito yung target market natin. Ito, hindi natin market ito kasi may owners na sila. Okay? Then for the twin tub, no? Kasi meron tatlong klaseng washing machine. There's a single tub, there's fully auto, and there's twin tub. Okay? Eh, ang target natin yung twin tab lang kasi yun yung dinidesign natin. The twin tab market comprises of 30%. Kasi ang pinakamalaking market is the single tab which is 60% at saka yung fully auto 10% lang sa industry. Okay? So twin tab washing machine ang target natin. Then but based on the survey of non-owners, no? Kasi dito papasok yung survey natin. Sinurvey natin yung non-owners, ilan yung planning to buy. So doon sa na-survey natin, only 60% are planning to buy. So ibig sabihin, yung 40% na non-owners, probably they'll just continue using the hand wash. Saka yung pukpok palo ng ng mga damit, no? Sa tabing ilog, probably they'll just continue with that. So 60% lang yung market natin. Then from there, conservatively, no? Kasi we're not entirely producing twin tab for the entire market. Meron tayong kalaban. Okay? So sa industry, like let's say Panasonic, no? Our target share is only 25%. Okay? Sa entire washing machine industry. So we have to get the 25% only. Then after getting that quantity, no, we project the monthly, no, kasi ito based on sa yearly figure to eh. Then just to get our product cost na target na monthly quantity, we have to break it down into ilang months? 12 months.
12 months, sir.
Okay, 12 months, right. So anong sagot? Na-compute nyo na ba? You start with 11.9 million. Okay? Ilan? Anthony, ilan? Oh, wala pa eh.
Nandito na ako sa yung dinivide ko yung 60. Dinanan ko lahat.
Oh. So ito gagawin nyo. From 11.9 million, get the 30%.
Times 0.30.
Then get
yes, sir.
from that figure, get another 30%. O, bawasan mo na naman.
Yes.
Then from that figure, get the 60%. Then from that figure, get the 25%.
Get the
Then from that figure, monthly. So ilan? Mali.
Ay, divided by 12 nga pala.
Diba?
Divided by 12. O yun, nakuha na ni Anthony.
Oh? Yeah.
So okay? So ito siya, okay? So 11.9 times 0.3, then times 0.3. Ito yung 1, 2, and 3. 2, 3, and 4, di ba? Then B, from that figure, get the 60%. No? So ito yun. No? Then last, no? Divided by 12, 13,388. Kasi you have to round it off. Kasi we're talking about quantity. We cannot sell half of a product, di ba? So you have to round it off. Okay, so 13,388. Okay, so nakuha ni Anthony. Okay. Sige. Then next, so that's how you get it. Okay, it's not just setting the figures based on statistics. No, you have to be definite. Kasi when the jurors know about this, no, alam nila yung mga market share, alam nila yung mga survey, you have to do that survey who are willing to buy. So when you talk about quantity, you have to explain it this way. Okay? Ganito siya. You have to break it down. So ito yung monthly quantity natin. Okay? Sige. So that's a good exercise. Okay? So next, bill of materials, simple lang. How to get the bill of materials. Siyempre, there's a part code, there's a part name, then volume, then there's a unit cost, then subtotal. Okay? So kaya bakit may subtotal? Because we compute the volume multiplied by the unit cost. Then we get that total cost of that specific product. So ito yung quantity niya. Then you get the grand total. Okay?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, may tanong si Marco. Yes.
So this bill of materials is for every single part included in the
Yes, yes.
thesis.
Every single part. But no, kasi sometimes we purchase parts in assembly. No? Halimbawa, PCB, print circuit board. Pinapagawa natin sa labas yan ng isang different manufacturer. So you get that cost of that PCB. You don't need to break it down into parts. Okay? Halimbawa, pinapagawa yan sa IMI, no? Yung mga nagpo-produce ng mga PCB. And there are lots of manufacturers that produces that. And also plastic parts, no? Usually plastic parts are in assembly. Pero it's best to have it part by part kung konti lang naman, no? Like for example, motor, no? It's an assembly already, yung motor. So you don't break it down into parts. So the motor itself is a single part already. So you purchase that as a single part. So one part lang siya.
So
Okay?
based on fully constructed parts na to?
Yes, yung when we talk about mass production kasi, usually you don't assemble those parts inside the factory.
True.
Usually you have it done outside. No? But if everything is done inside, you could probably get those costs. Okay? So
Okay.
kinakailangan if it's a mass produced na At saka yung screws, usually they don't use just a single type of screw. They probably use 3 types or 4 types of screws. Then you multiply that by that volume, no? So 1 unit cost, then multiplied by the volume, you get your subtotal. Then you add all the material costs. Okay? Ganun lang siya kasimple. You can use basically this table in your when you're doing your product costing. Okay? Kahit Excel file lang siya, pwede na. Okay? So not much question about this. Then next is depreciation. Ito yung parating nakakalimutan, no? Kasi when almost all designers that have industry practice knows about this. Kaya yung mga jurors nyo definitely might ask you about this, no? If you have products that requires investment like plastics, metal, or even fiberglass, no? Sabihin natin fiberglass, hindi lang naman isang gagawin mo. You have to make at least 100 pieces, no? So you need to make a fiberglass mold. So may investment din yon. You need to make a single mold, no? And of course, every mold has a lifespan, no? So for the industry, usually it is for molds and dies of plastics, it's 2 years. Okay? 24 months quantity, but ito yung options kung titignan niyo dito sa baba. It's either ito pala sa gitna, no? Maximum of 2 years, no? Or a quantity of 200,000, no? Usually a plastic mold's life, no? Yung buhay ng isang plastic mold, hindi yung plastic yung material na metal yon. When you produce a plastic injection like ABS plastics, PP plastics, PET, even blow molded plastics, there's molds involved, no? And those molds are expensive kasi it has to withstand the pressure. Kasi when you inject plastic, may pressure yon. And if your metal is not strong, no? Magbe-break yon because of that pressure, no? Kaya nga may mga machines, kung hindi pa kayo nakabisita sa Manly Plastics, sino na nakabisita sa Manly Plastics o kaya Plastics Injection Company? Meron na ba? Those who attended production management or no? So, may mga machines that injects yung based on tonnage, no? Tonelada yung pressure. When we talk about tonnage, hindi yung weight ang kino-consider doon. It's the amount of pressure. No? PSI, parang ganon. So yung mga molds na yon are really expensive, no? And sometimes there's yung sources nila nanggagaling pa sa Europe for that metal, no? Kasi pag sa China raw medyo hindi ano yung quality, nagbi-break daw. Even China buys their mold yung base mold, no? Binibili nila yon sa ibang bansa, hindi sa kanila. Okay? So that's very really expensive, no? But if you break it down per product, you break it based on depreciation, no? Like for example, ito yung example. Total molds and dies, halimbawa, it's 5 million. Then you have a planning quantity option, which is 2 years quantity or 200 ounce. Whichever comes first, no? Yun yung mold life. Okay? Kasi pwede natin sabihin 200,000 ounce, pero bakit 2 years naman? Halimbawa, yung 2 years natin, 100,000 lang. So, ibig sabihin, pwede pa siyang 4 years. Hindi ganun ang computation sa industry. You can only do that if your product is a long life product. But if your product is something like a competitive product, every 2 years you have to change. No? Let's say Apple, no? Yung iPhone, nakailang iPhone na, no? Start with iPhone original, then iPhone 6 and up to X na, no? But on those years, ilang beses sila nagpapalit, no? Minsan 1 year lang, minsan 6 months lang, another model comes out. Okay? So you have to depreciate it based on its life. Okay? Then usually, as an average, just for costing purposes, we do the 2 years quantity, no, for plastic molds at saka metal molds. And if it's less than 200,000, you have to use the 2 years. Okay? But if it's more than 200,000, you have to use the 200,000. Nakuha nyo? Okay. So may mga sample tayo dyan later na please ready your calculators again, no? So ito lang ang computation basically. No? Ito yung investment amount ko, 5 million divided by 200,000, lumalabas 25 pesos lang ang depreciation cost. This is the amount that you add to your product. So yung ba nagsasabi, nako, laki naman ng investment, 5 million. No? Total investment yan, 5 million. Paano ko kaya i-divide yun? Pero ang tanong, may volume ka ba? Do you have the volume? If you have the volume, you use that volume. But if it's beyond 200,000, you use 200,000 only. What's good about it, you can depreciate it earlier. Ibig sabihin, after, halimbawa, ang quantity mo is 400,000, 200,000 lang siya, basically in 1 year, you can depreciate already the 5 million. 1 year pa lang. Then you can maintain that price and it becomes part of your profit. Kung ilang percent yung depreciation cost sa total cost ng product, it becomes part of your profit. Lalaki yung profit mo. Or, what you could do, kung okay naman yung profitability mo, you can price it down after 1 year. Kasi medyo naluma na siya, di ba? So you can price it down so it still becomes more affordable to the consumer. So yung mga options, okay, when doing the depreciation. Okay, so let's do a short calculation. No? Dito lang siya. Ito lang, simple lang. Total investment amount is 42 million. No? Ito naman, balik tayo doon sa twin tub. No? So if you don't know, the twin tub plastic body washing machine, total investment is around 42 million. Ganon siya kalaki. And how much are we selling it? 6,000 lang. Okay? Or all around 7,000, something like that. Then projected monthly quantity is 8,000 units. So magkano yung depreciation amount? Magkano sa tingin sa computation nyo? So how do you do it? Total investment amount, 42 million, no? Times, no, yung 8,000 units, no? Times 24 months, no? So 192 lang siya. Okay? So ano gagamitin mo? Will you use the 192,000 quantity? So if you use the 42 million divided by 100, lumalabas ang depreciation cost mo 218. No? Kasi this is less than 200,000. So you use this amount. Okay? And times it, multiply it by 24 months. Okay? So another computation given, no? Let's say the twin tub washing machine. What if the total investment amount is 42 million? Tapos nakita nyo yung kinompute natin kanina, yung quantity, which is 13,388 units. So ano yung magiging depreciation amount? So please compute. So yung makakakuha uli nito, papalagyan ko ng plus K ni Stani. So meron ba? Nagko-compute? Are you using your calculators? So meron ba nakakuha? O si Nico. Anong lumalabas, Nico? So sino nakakuha ng tamang figure? 130. Mali pa rin. Okay. $130 din, mali. So pag minultiply mo yung 30,000 units na 13,000 units times 24, ilan lalabas? Ilan lalabas? 100, no? 321. Okay? Eh, lagpas siya sa 200,000. Diba? Eh, di ba ang maximum natin ilan? Di ba 200,000 lang? So, paano nyo kukomputin yan? So, you compute it based on 200,000 lang. Okay? So, ganito ang computation. Okay? 42 million divided by 200,000 lang. Parang yung first example natin dito sa first page, no? Dito. 5 million divided by 200,000, no? So in this case, since it's beyond 200,000, we compute it based on the maximum quantity, no? Eh since kasi 200,000 lang yung mold life natin, beyond 200,000, na siya? Depreciated na siya. Ang mangyayari lang, mapapabilis yung depreciation. So how do you get that computation? No? Ito siya, no? So madi-depreciate mo siya in 15 months lang. Okay? So mo-multiply mo lang yung 210, no? Doon sa total amount, no? Total amount, then divided by 24, then from the 42, i-divide mo naman yung total, no? Okay? So that means Actually, it's around 14 point something, 14.9, no? Months. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, in 15 months, depreciated mo na siya, pwede ka nang magpagawa uli ng panibagong mold, or you could basically redesign it kasi babago ka ng mold, or you could add that to your profit. Ibig sabihin, yung amount na 210 pesos, madadagdag sa profitability. Okay? So, madali lang, di ba? So, important yung depreciation. Please do not neglect, especially if you have molds and dies. No? If it's a consumer product, dapat may molds and dies yan kasi it has to be produced in volumes. And to make it more efficient, you have to invest. Okay? Wala nang question dito sa depreciation. Another term for this is amortization. No? Mold amortization. And usually, if there's a bigger volume involved, no? Kasi gusto kumita ng mold maker, ako, laking volume nito. Ako na lang mag-amortize, no? Sometimes it's being offered like that. So if sa tingin ng mold maker, madi-depreciate ng maaga yan kasi tataas. Sa tingin niya, tataas yung volume nito kasi malaki ang demand. He would want to amortize the cost of the mold. Siyempre, in your case, hindi ka na manghihiram ng pera, hindi ka na maglo-loan sa bangko. So, you'll just give it to the mold maker. O sige, kayo na mag-amortize. No? Ang risk naman niya, pag nag-flop yung product, siya mag-absorb ng over expenses noon. Okay? But of course, there's a lot of studies involved, okay, sa depreciation. But usually companies spend for it, no? Nag-invest talaga sila. Okay? Wala nang question? Meron pa? Okay, kung wala no more questions, let's move to the other So ito pala, investments are not just plastics, metal injection, no? Meron ding dies for metal casting, yung mga die cast aluminum, may mga investments yan. Plastics, vacuum forming process, meron ding molde yan involved. Yung mga jigs that are used for assembly, okay? It becomes part of the investment. Sa mga printing naman, yung mga printing plates, sa mga rubber mold para doon sa packaging printing, no? Ito printing plates din para sa packaging. Then of course, we add the external design development services. Like for example, there are companies that do not have their own R&D, no? Manufacturing lang talaga sila, pero gusto nila mag-develop ng product, so they commission external services, no? Like design companies, no? So it becomes part of investment. No? Nagiging depreciation cost siya. So you also depreciate that. Okay? So kung yung when you're talking about your product, if you're having it manufactured in bigger volume, so malaki manufacturer yon. So malamang meron silang sariling design services. Pero if not, they'll probably kasi if it's internal, it becomes part of the indirect labor cost, which we will discuss later. No? Pero if it's an external services, it's an expense, no, that you would have to depreciate on that product that you are developing. No, magiging siya, part siya ng depreciation. Okay? And of course, special equipment or machine used in assembly or testing. Kasi minsan, kinakailangan special testing machine. Okay?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes. Yes, Marco.
Sorry I'm late and I'm sorry about this, but my phone is about to die na, so I'm not gonna be able to attend the seminar.
So I just don't know if Miss Tani is recording this, So let's see, no?
Sir, recorded naman po.
Okay. It's recorded naman. You could probably get a copy of the recording later. Okay.
Alright, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Again,
Okay.
sorry.
Sige. Sige. Okay, let's continue. So sa molds and dies din, just to show you, no, when you're doing the costing para sa molds and dies, no, it's best to consult yung companies, no, that injects plastics, no, like Mandy Plastics. So meron naman kayong classmates siguro dyan, yung si Vince ko, that you could inquire about it. But before going to your to the supplier, you have to have in your hand technical drawings already. Okay, so dapat may dala kayo. Then you could discuss about number of cavities. So sa mga smaller parts, dapat may cavities. Tawag doon yung number of cavities. Ilang in one injection, ilang parts na agad. Excuse. Okay? So yung mga dinidiscuss diyan, yung mga moving parts, mga inserts, okay? And it becomes part of the cost. Okay? And the type of material you use and estimated weight, no? Important yung estimated weight. Dito naman siya papasok sa injection cost. Because yung injection cost, this is the part cost. Magiging part ito nung bill of materials. Like for example, you're injecting outer case, no? The plastic. So yung outer case na plastic na yon, how much will be the part cost? So itatanong nyo rin yon. So you'll be asking two questions to your mold maker. One is the mold investment and the other is the injection cost or the parts cost. Okay? So ito yung mga requirement na kinakailangan dala nyo. Ngayon, mahirap yung like for example, weight of the part. Paano kaya yan? No? So there are third-party softwares where it's basically estimates, no? Halimbawa, you put ABS plastic there, tapos ito yung mold, magiging estimated mold niya, no? So ito yung niya, yung part. So ma-check niya yung volume, no? And basically, based on that volume, a weight can be generated. Okay? But if not, I suggest you look for a similar part. Like for example, ito ABS din to, itong part na to, kasi weight niya lang siguro ito. So you use that weight as an estimate lang naman for product costing. It doesn't have to be that definite. So look for a part that almost has the same weight. Excuse me. That almost has the same weight and use that as a reference for the weight, no? Then usually day 2 costing, ito sila naman na nagdadagdag nito do sa parts cost. Is spoilage, usually it's a 0.3%. No, dinadagdag nila do sa cost na because before before generating a good product, marami muna sila itatapon ng plastic. They have to inject many times and adjust the machines. No? Once they get the exact that's the time they do the mass production. But of course, there's spoilages also. And sometimes hindi exact yung lumalabas nung una kasi hindi pa masyadong mainit yung makina, like something like that. Or maybe sometimes it depends on the weather, pagka malamig, and sometimes so pagka sobrang init naman. Okay? So maraming conditions that would have to consider and they add that spoilage cost to your injections, no? So ito yon. Anyway, just ask the supplier about it. Okay? Para maibigay nila sa inyo yung mas accurate na question. Okay? So you could schedule I suggest all of you talk at the same time and send Vince the proper documents for costing, email, then he would probably ask his dad about it kasi yung dad niya gumagawa ng lahat ng costing. Okay? Or probably his dad also have someone to do it for him. Okay? That is if you want to talk with Mandy Plastics. But if you have other suppliers that could do the costing nearby, malapit sa inyo, I suggest you do it. No? Yung which is more convenient for you. Okay, so that's ito nga pala itsura ng multiple cavities, no? just for your information. Ito yung parts ng when injected. Ito actually the runner is already a spoilage material. Tinatapo na siya. Okay? Or sometimes it's recycled. But it becomes part of the cost. Okay? Okay, just for your information. Okay? Next naman. Okay? So we'll talk about labor. Okay? So wala nang question muna do sa previous Wala o medyo na overwhelmed na kayo o na data overload or something. Can you still hear me? Okay lang? Okay pa? Okay pa? Okay. Sige. Let's continue. Labor cost, no? We have two types. Okay? One is the direct labor at saka indirect labor. So when we talk about direct labor, those are the laborers or factory workers. So the production people that produces your product. Because in some manufacturing, no, minsan they're producing many production lines. They have many production lines and producing different products. No? So yung affected lang doon because you don't take the labor cost of the entire factory. Only those that affects your product. No? So sa factory worker, ito yung direct labor ang tawag natin. No? Yung mga factory workers and the line supervisors and wala naman siguro line manager, no? Usually there's production manager. Hawak niya yung buong production line. Pero specifically for that line that produces your part, sila yung kinukuhanan lang ng labor cost. And when it comes to indirect labor naman, ito yung minsan na hindi natin na balik pala tayo. Ito pala, na-skip natin, nasa sample na agad tayo. So, yan yung indirect labor at saka direct labor. So, yung direct labor, ayan, daily worker salary. Yan ang reference natin. Tapos yung labor cost per minute, no? So, we run it down per minute. Okay? Since ang reference natin, daily salary ng workers, no? Yun ang gagamitin nating reference, no? Then we run it down to per minute cost of labor. For the indirect labor naman, ito yung other employees, officers with total monthly salary, no? So ano yung mga sino-sino ito? Yung nasa planning, R&D, QAC, Quality Assurance Center, Information Technology, Accounting, HRD, Purchasing, Logistics, and Management. Lahat na nasa manufacturing pataas na like staff ng production management, no? Pataas 'yon. Lahat 'yon kailangan magsweldo. Okay? Then run it down to cost per minute also. Okay? Then another requirement that we need is the standard time. Gaano katagal gagawin? Ilang minutes? Okay? Then labor cost per unit. Ito total mo lang yan, yung dalawa. Okay? So para maintindihan natin, for us to better understand, this is an example. Okay? So sa direct labor muna tayo ito, nasa right side. Okay? Daily worker salary. Let's say, ito ang latest ito, ang cost ng minimum wage worker is 537, no? Per per day, no? Minimum daily wage yan. Okay? So para makuha yung monthly, you multiply this by usually times number of weeks, no? Or number of days per month, not including Saturdays and Sunday, or probably half day of Saturday, depende doon sa no? Sa requirement ng okay? So you have to compute it per based on that. So ito sample, no? If this is the minimum daily wage of 537, then you have 8 workers working with you for this production line. So ang lalabas is 4,296. Yun yung total cost na per day, no? Per day ito. Then you have to break it down per ano, no? So ilalagay mo muna ito rito divided by 480. So saan galing yung 480? Kinuha lang natin dito, 8 hours a day, di ba? Usually ang standard working time. So 8 hours a day divided by 60 minutes, it becomes 480 minutes per day. Okay? So yun na, lumalabas 480 minutes. So divide lang natin yung total cost ng lahat ng workers earning daily wages ng 537. We'll just divide it by 480. Ang lalabas, ang labor cost per minute is 8 peso and 95 centavos. Okay? So yan yung standard time. Then for the standard time number of minutes, let's say 8.5 minutes is the time that you assemble an entire product from start to finish. Let's say maliit lang siya na siguro parang ano lang to, simpleng bag lang, no? So pero 8 workers ang gumagawa kasi may tiga putol, may tiga dikit, may tiga tupi, may tiga lagay ng zipper. Okay? As an example lang naman, example lang. Okay? So ang we just compute the 8.95, no? Multiply it by the number of minutes. So ito yung labor cost per minute multiplied by the standard time. So lalabas siya 76.08 for the direct labor cost. Okay? So i-add lang natin siya doon sa total. Kukunin muna natin yung indirect labor naman. For the indirect labor, let's say an average salary is 20,000. No? Kasi kukunin natin yung average. Hindi naman natin kinakailangan ilagay pa yung sweldo ng president, sweldo ng sekretarya, sweldo ng accountant. No? So we're just doing this just to estimate. No? So let's say average of 4 workers. Kasi 4 lang naman yung yung isa yung may-ari, yung isa accountant, tapos meron pa siyang production manager, no? So 4 lang sila basically, no? So ang average salary nila is 20,000 multiplied by i-multiply lang natin yung number of employees. Let's say 4 sila, you get 80,000, di ba? So from that 80,000, divided it by 11,701. So saan nakuha yung 11,701? Actually 0.8 pa to, hindi lang nagkasya, no? Dito yan. So this is an average kasi it's a 21.67 days times 9 hours times 60 minutes. Kasi sa office usually Saturday wala nang pasok, di ba? Pero sa kasi sa labor law, no, dapat yan, yung you work 8 hours a day from Monday to Friday and a half day. Diba? Ganun sa government. May half day pa sila ng Saturday. Okay? But what companies are doing right now, ginagawa nilang 9 hours sa offices. 9 hours a day na lang. Wala ng Saturday. So it's more economical kasi you don't need to use the air conditioner. For Saturday, naka-shutdown lahat ng operation ng Saturday. So just to comply with labor laws, ginagawa nilang 9 hours a day na lang. Okay? So, bakit 21.67 days? This is basically an average reference kasi every month, merong number of holidays. May Saturday, Sunday, So usually every year nababago 'yon kasi we add the Saturdays and tinatanggal natin yung mga holidays, then we average it divided by per month, So ganun na lang ginagawa para standard na yung salary. Okay? So let's say sa per month as an average in 1 year 21.67 days ang working days working hours, working days pala to per month. Okay? Then we multiply it by 9 hours, no? Then multiplied by 60 minutes kasi kukunin natin yung number of minutes. Okay? So, lalabas 11,701.8 minutes per month. Yun ang lalabas. Okay? So, bini-breakdown lang natin. Okay? So, ang lalabas, yan, 11,701.8. So, from the 80,000 na total cost of their monthly salary divided by 11,701.8 yan is equals to 6.84 ang cost per minute. So again, yung parang ginawa natin sa labor, direct labor, you just multiply it by 8.5 yung standard time. Then you get 58.14. No? So you just add the 58.14 plus the 76.08 labor cost, you get this amount, 134.22. So ganun lang siya kasimple. Okay? Nakuha niyo ba? Okay. So do you have your papers ready again? Okay, computation tayo, simple lang. Okay. So again, for the twin tub washing machine, no? Let's say we have a direct laborer's salary of 600. So hindi naman 537, 600 naman. No, for 12 line workers. Okay, to assemble the washing machine. No? And indirect labor has an average monthly salary of 18,000. No? That is for 6 employees and officers. No? Then you have a standard time of 26 minutes. So anong sagot diyan? Okay. So sige, ito yung reference natin, no? 480 minutes for the direct labor and 11,701 for the 0.8 for the indirect labor. So nagko-compute ba kayo? Mukhang hindi. Sige, sasagutin na lang natin yan. So 600 multiplied by 12 workers divided by 480 minutes, no? Then multiplied by 26 minutes. So ito yon, yung naka-parenthesis. Ito yung unahin natin. Then the total, we divide it by 480. Then the total again will multiply by 26 minutes. So we got 390. That is for the direct labor. And for the indirect labor, which is 18,000, multiplied by 6 workers, no? Then divided by 11,701.8, then multiplied by 26 minutes also. So lalabas 239.96. Then just total that, you got 629.96. Okay? Ganun lang siya kasimple on how good to get the labor cost. Of course, in reality, no, marami pa yung complications, no? But it's one way for you to determine, no, yung kung magkano, no, like breaking it down. Sometimes, no, when we ask our yung supplier natin, no, we have our product, we don't cost the product based on prototyping, no? It has to be yung costing nyo, it has to be based on mass production quantity and mass production with investment and molds. Hindi siya yung 3D printing lang. Okay? So prototype cost is different from production cost or mass production cost. Okay? So this is how you break it down. No? Halimbawa, na-compute nyo na, may binigay sa inyo figure lang, you need to have a product costing. No? So you have to break it down to present to your jurors. So this is how you break it down. Okay? Walang tanong sa labor cost? Okay. This is a sample, no? Sa Panasonic, now we do the costing. Medyo complicated, Anyway, there are descriptions here, no? Kasi don't get intimidated by this one. No? Basically, this is just how, for me, how to explain it further to you, how we do the costing. No? So basically, nauuna dyan, itong SRP talaga. No? Then, hindi natin na pag-uusapan yung other costs like marketing. Okay? So sa standard costing ng product, there's 20% for the marketing cost, then 20% for the dealer's margin. No? That is for consumer products or appliances. No? Kasi we have to ask dealers to sell the product for us. No? Then we add 20%. This is for the sales and marketing. And for the sales and marketing, we already include the VAT. No? Kasi sila yung magta-transfer ng price dun sa dealer's margin. So kasama na yun dun sa 20% nila. So basically, ang sales and marketing cost lang is around 8% lang. Okay? Then the total manufacturing cost is 60%. Okay? So 60% siya, but 60% siya rito from the SRP. Now, we have to decide on the transfer price. Kasi yung transfer price, nanggagaling dito sa 60% ng manufacturing. So yan yung 100% na nandito. Kaya transfer price yan because this is the price we give to sales and marketing. The rest, the sales and marketing will spend and provide profit to the dealer. So sila magbibigay nun. So yung 100% are only basically coming from the manufacturing, including the profitability. Because in marketing, they do not earn profit. They have to spend their 8%. Okay? Because they're given that money to sell. Bakit nandito pala yung logo ng pinil sa baba? Tanggalin lang muna natin. Okay. Okay? So, yan ang breakdown when it comes to marketing expenses. Now, ito yung investment. Ito yung molds and dies depreciation. Okay? And yung depreciation nakaturo dito. Then, this is the bill of materials, total material cost. And yung spoilage naman ito, hindi sa mold dito, spoilage ng production. Kasi there are situations wherein mali ang production, there are scratches, nagasgasan, no? Or natapunan ng chemical, or may part na defective but it's already assembled, you have to sell it as Class B or something. So there's a 0.3%, no? 0.3% spoilage factor, no? Factor lang 'yan. Minsan nagagamit 'yan, minsan hindi. Minsan lumalagpas pa diyan. So they just have an average figure for that and it's added to the cost of the total product. Okay? Kasama siya sa cost. Then bakit wala yung direct selling expense? Nagkakaroon lang dito direct selling expense if it doesn't have yung sales and marketing. Like for example, somebody ordered to us, no? Like for siguro ito actual sample, KDK, no? Alam niyo ba yung KDK, Panasonic din ang nagpo-produce noon. Yung KDK na electric fan. Okay? So we're selling it directly to KDK. Okay? So what we use there is the transfer price. Yun yung binibigyan namin price sa KDK. Because they will be the one doing the sales and marketing and the VAT for the dealers. Of course, we will add VAT to that. Kasi sila yung another company na yon. Okay? Sila naman yung customer. Then, yung direct selling expense, magkakaroon yan. Okay? And usually, it's around 8% din na nandito. Yung sales and marketing cost. Napupunta lang siya dito sa manufacturing cost. Wala na dito sa sales and marketing. Okay? Then, ito yung kasi when we're talking about Panasonic, kasi may brand license fee. We're paying for the use of Panasonic license, no, to sell. no? A brand license fee, technical assistance fee, kaya nga may mga Japanese advisors ang Panasonic, no, para we could maintain the same quality as the Japanese brand, no, or Japanese produced Panasonic brands. So meron tayong Japanese na technical advisors. So yun yung technical assistance fee. Probably in your product you don't need this. May reserve for obsolescence kasi kahit maliit na amount yan, in case there is breakdown or the product is being phased out, no, magkakaroon ng rebate, yan yon. But you don't also need to add that. Okay? So yan yung ano. Okay? Then this is the ano, marginal profit naman, kasi ito marginal profit, ito galing lang ito sa dito, no, sa fixed cost. Okay? Kasi bakit fixed cost tinawag dito? This is the variable cost kasi nagbabago ito based on sa ano, exchange rate, no? Halimbawa, there are imported materials, nagbabago-bago ito based on sa exchange rate. In this case, nung kinuha ko itong data na to, luma na ito hindi pa updated ito kasi it's a US dollar, 42.74 lang per US dollar. So nagbabago. Once na nabago yung ano, nagbabago lahat yan. Yung sa mga imported parts. Okay? Pero yung ano kasi, yung labor cost, naka-fix yan. Hindi nagbabago yan. Okay? Kaya fixed cost ang tawag dyan. So there's the direct labor, pero indirect labor. Then ito naman, yung depreciation others. Nasa second page yan ito. Yan. So, ayan yung sa labor cost, no? Diba? Depreciation cost at saka investment yan ng mga machines. Okay? So, halimbawa, bumili kami ng vacuum forming para sa refrigerator inner liner. Yung loob ng refrigerator, yung plastic na yon, isang malaking molde yon para sa vacuum forming. And it costs around 150 million. No? So, investment yon. And it's being depreciated. So, meron siyang cost ng depreciation dito. Okay? So, yan. Sa manufacturing side naman ng investment to. Hindi siya doon sa existing para doon sa product lang. So, maraming napaggagamitan ito. Kaya maliit lang din yung depreciation cost niya. But in this case, siguro, limited lang. Kaya medyo malaki yung depreciation amount. Ito yung manufacturing overhead. Ano yung overhead? From water, power, LPG, rent. Kung nagre-rent ka ng space, chemicals, etc. Yan yung overhead. Yan yung term ng overhead. Dali, tanggalin niya na. Bakit merong binil na nakaharap dito? Okay. Next is production service fee. Itong production service fee, somehow not related to machine investment at saka yung mga usage lang din yan. Maintenance, repair, stoppage, breakdown. So meron din siyang cost. Okay? Tapos yung head office fee, ito, fee from company board and officers. No? Then general expenses, ito yon. Kasi hindi natin naisip, nagbabayad pala tayo sa mga security guard, cleaning services, at saka etc. No? So pinapakita ko lang sa inyo to as for your reference, no, when doing the costing. No? You could also use this as a reference kung if it's a big manufacturing product, no, na malaki ang volume, no? And probably you'll use a company like similar to Panasonic, no, for manufacturing. So this is how they do the manufacturing. Then to standard time, no? Kasi this is basically a refrigerator, no? Refrigerator to. So ang standard time niya to finish the entire production line is 159 minutes, no? 0.70. Basically cost pala ito. Amount tama, standard time lang to. Amount in minutes lang to. Hindi siya kasama doon sa cost, nakalabas siya. Then ito yung production quantity per month. Okay? So 600 production quantity per month. Okay? So May nagte-text lang. Ang gugulo. Anyway, so ito in this formula actually that we're using, hindi ko na ibibigay sa inyo yung formula kasi it's baka makasuhan ako ng Panasonic. So anyway, what we do, pag nagbabago itong number na to, nababago lahat ng costing na yan. Pati yung profit na iiba. So that's how we do it in Panasonic. Medyo may formula na naka-embed dito sa Excel file. So when they said na, sige, ang quantity natin, estimated quantity will be 300. So when we input 300 dyan, all the data are being changed. Okay? So yun ang Okay, so that's that, no, yung formula. Then let's do the computation. Yung simple lang, yung mga basics lang, okay? Anyway, in case you're wondering what to put, no, dito sa mga overhead, general expenses, you can basically use, kaya ako binigay sa inyo to, you could basically use some of this as reference. Ito percentage ito percentage ito. So it's 4.1% and 1.9%. So basically 100. Pag kasama yung operating profit, no? In this case, yung refrigerator, maliit lang profit, 282 pesos lang. No? But I let you know, sasabihin ko sa inyo kung bakit malaki na yan. Okay? Later. Akala nyo lang maliit yung 200. Isang refrigerator lang yan. Okay? May questions ba rito? Wala. Okay, sige. Let's do a simple computation. And in this computation, dalawa yung sample natin. It's one is B2B. No? When we say B2B, this is business to business. Okay? Ibig sabihin, walang marketing. Like for example, we're dealing with DPWH. So direkta yung natin, customer natin. Or like like I said, like for example, we're dealing with KDK or another company, no? We use this computation, no? So we start out with the selling price. Magkano ba yung selling price? No, ito yon. Like for example, 112 siya. So to get the operating profit, which is lagyan naman natin. Yan. Kala ko natakpan ng no? First, remove the VAT, no? Which is 12%. Kasi definitely may VAT dapat yan. So idagdag na natin yung VAT doon sa SRP. Kasi, di ba sabi nga ng DTI, when we're putting up the price, dapat VAT inclusive na siya. Okay? So ginagawa dyan, tinededuct na yung VAT. No? So that's how we get the transfer price. Ito yon, price before VAT. Okay? In this case, it's 100 pesos. Okay? Then, just add all these materials. Then, deduct it to the price before VAT or transfer price. You get your operating profit. Ganun lang siya kasimple. Okay? So, all of these are expenses. No? So, like for example, our material cost is 65. Depreciation cost is 3 pesos. Our labor cost is 20 pesos. Our overhead cost is 5 and general expenses is 2. You deduct everything on 100. So matitira is your operating profit, which is 5 pesos. Okay? Ganyan lang siya kasimple. So, siguro sinasabi niya, dami pang sinabi ni Sir yung pala, ganyan lang pala ang computation. Okay? Pero of course, you have to know everything inside that. Okay? So, what if it's B2C, no? Like business to customer, no? Or business to consumer. Okay? So, this is another sample computation, no? So, of course, you establish your SRP first, no? Which is 165. Okay? So ito naman yung breakdown niya. No? 60% sa manufacturing, 20% sa dealer's margin, 20% sa sales and marketing. And yung VAT inclusive na dyan. Okay? So sales and marketing. So you will be left with 60%, which is 100% when we talk about when we want to get our operating profit. Okay? So ito na yung transfer price ngayon. Ito na yung target ng manufacturing, yung 60% lang. So ginagawa dyan, we remove first that 40% to get our target price, no, sa manufacturing side. Okay, so ito na siya transfer price. Then you add everything, no? You deduct everything, then what's left is your operating profit. Okay? So ganyan lang siya kasimple. Okay? Dali. Store ba itong virtual vinyl na logo na to? Babalik ko na lang yan pag naayos. Okay? Then, yan. Okay? So basically, your profit is 6%. No? Pero yung 6% na yon, nanggaling siya rito sa 99. Okay? So I made the definite number, no, like 165. Kasi if you want to compute based on the transfer price, ano ba lalabas sa selling price? You just yung 100, actually 100 yan, naging 99 lang kasi may mga variables, no? So 100 times 165, ito na sa left side, no? Yung 100, yung amount na to, 100 times 165%, to get your selling price of 165. Okay? Para medyo definite na yung figures. Okay? Then let's do the computation again. No? Ito malapit na matapos dito. Okay? So galing siya dun sa 99. Okay? So sa twin tub washing machine, let's say this is given. No? So ang SRP natin, ang target is 6,999. No? Basically, that's 7,000. Pero we price it that way para yung unang figure na makikita mo is 6. Okay? So akala mo mas mura siya. Basically, it's 7,000. Okay? So then what you do next is, no? Tanggalin ito, which is 40%. You get your transfer price, which is 4,199.4. Then all this is given, no? Yung bill of material natin, ito yung depreciation cost. Yung kanina, 210. Then yung labor cost kanina. Then your overhead cost, which is 18, no? So meron kayong profit na 205.50. Okay? So lalabas niyan 4.89. Okay? So yan yung lalabas na ano natin, no? So ang profit natin is around 5%, no? So yan, sa tingin ng iba maliit yan. Sir, ang liit naman na 205 pesos, no? But let's talk about quantity, no? Then how much will be the monthly and yearly profit of twin tub washing machine? No, ito yung sinasabi ko earlier na parang pag hindi nyo tinignan, tapos kinumpute ng dealers, ng jurors nyo, parang sobrang laki yata ng profit, no? 205 lang, maliit naman, no? Hindi siya maliit, no? Because when you multiply 205 by the monthly quantity, yung nakita na kinumpute natin kanina, you have a monthly profit of 2.751 million. Okay? And just imagine this is just a single product. Okay? Then, magkano magiging yearly profit niyan? So just multiply it by 12. Okay? So magkano siya? So basically, you're earning a profit of 33 million in 1 year. That is already a net profit. Okay? So yung 205 na profit per product, maliit yan basically. Hindi siya maliit pala. Malaki yan. Okay? So sa industry, that standard profitability for small quantity products, it's basically 10%. No? 10% lang. And kung large volume yan, malaki yung volume, minsan pinapaliit pa yan up to 3%. And you're earning good profit already with 3%. Because if you're earning too much, mapupunta lang yan sa gobyerno. That's why we do investments. No? Kaya nag-i-invest tayo ng panibagong product. And no, in 1 year, biro mo magpa-profit ka ng 33 million. No? And just imagine, isang twin tub washing machine lang yan. No? So in Panasonic, just for your information, wag niyo i-share, no? 5 billion is the gross usually average ito 5 billion total sales. Pero ang profitability is around 400 million lang. Okay? So that's it for the entire Panasonic na yun. Yung pinoproduce lang namin locally. Okay? So do not compute na kasing laki nyo yung Ayala, yung kasing laki nyo yung Globe at saka Smart, no? O kaya yung company ni Dennis Uy na sa mining na may billions ang profitability, okay? So that's not a true computation. Viewers will look for a reason to fail you for that just because of that, okay? Then siguro just for you to run down kasi before somebody are asking, sir, kasama pala sa computation namin yung investment ng design services. How do we get that? No? So dadaan lang natin to, no? Just for your So sa product design and development costing, kasi it will be part of your product investment. Kasi syempre bisweldo kayong designer. Hindi libre yung pagdi-design. Okay? So this is how you just ito yung actually sa Panasonic, ito yung steps, no, development steps. Just for your information. Reference lang to. So we start out with product planning, product development, and manufacturing. Yung totoong product development nasa engineering side yun. Ang industrial design ay nasa product planning stage. Kasi not one is feasible eh. Pero yung product decision, nasa amin lahat, nasa industrial design. So para ma-approvean yung product to shift to the second stage, which is product development, it has to be approved first. Nandiyan dapat may costing na, meron ng quantity, dapat meron ng lahat na nagawa mo na lahat ng costing, lahat ng preparations. Kaya important yung costing as an industrial designer. Okay? Then that's the time yung sa engineering, sila nang gagawa ng prototype, yung design quality check, tapos sila magta-turn over sa manufacturing. Okay? Sa manufacturing, sila nagagastos ng mold. Kasi silang niyan, hindi sa product development yan. Product development sa engineering, lahat ng preparations lang. Like yung 3D, yung parts design, no? Na engineering design, no? Pati yung electrical, yung how to assemble, something like that, no? So sa product development papasok yan sa engineering side. Then sa manufacturing, yung dyan ay mold fabrication, yung engineering sample, yung injected parts na. Then yung quality check, iti-testing yan kung papasa dun sa standards. Then pre-production, tatakbo muna sa linya ng trial. Then they make some adjustments before mass production. Pag mass production, tuloy-tuloy na yun. Okay? So sa costing din, there are different stages, no? Dito sa product planning, yan yung Class C costing na tinatawag. Class C. Ibig sabihin, lahat mas maraming estimate. Sa product development, nandiyan na yung Class B costing. Okay? Then yung manufacturing, kasi tapos na yung molde, tapos na lahat ng ano, that's a Class A costing na. Ibig sabihin, mas accurate na siya. Sabihin, mas realistic na. Makikita na dyan kung may profit pa talaga o wala. Okay? Then, ano ba yung design confirmation process? Ito yon. We start out with product planning, human-centered research, concept idea creation, 3D graphics, aesthetic model. Then we do the satisfaction survey, then design, presentation, then turnover of completed documents. So yan yung stages. Basically, planning review, start of design development, then initial design stage, may initial approval na to, then we proceed to the final design stage. Then we turn over the document to engineering. Okay? Then kung separate company ka, ito yung mga payment scheme. No? So initial payment, you get 50% down payment. Kung 2 stages lang yung development, no? Let's say you're a design company, no? Then you're commissioned to do this, no? So you before you start, you ask for 50% down payment. Okay? Then you get the next 50%, no? Do sa final payment na. Pero dapat may go signal muna yan. Okay? Ibig sabihin, may initial design na yan. Okay? Then, doon sa, ito naman yung isang stage wherein may 3 payment scheme. Ang unang binabayad dyan is 40%. Then, in the middle is 30%, yung partial payment, approval. Ibig sabihin, inaprubahan na yung design mo. Then, yung final payment, which is 30%. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng deliverables na ibigay mo na, like technical drawings, final working prototype, saka yung mechanical engineering drawings. Okay? So, yan yung mga payment schemes. Then, for the contract price, ganito yung computation. You set up the contract price based on this computation. Siyempre, kung design company ka, may design staff ka, pero kung ikaw lang mag-isa, ikaw na rin to. No? Pero may head designer pa rito, fee and profit. Okay, nandito yung breakdown ng computation if you want to compute it based on an hourly rate. Usually, gaano katagal siya gagawin. No? Kasi usually, when you have a client, no? Like for example, ang client mo nga Panasonic, then you're a design company, separate. You do not say, ganito lang price niyan. No? You have to break it down. No? Pati yung mga materials na gagamitin mo, then yung depreciation cost mo, ng mga machines mo. Bumili ka ng high-speed na computer, meron kang 3D printer, no? Tapos yung other third-party services, like for example, baka yung pina-farm out mo yung mga technical drawing o kaya pina-farm out mo yung prototyping, yun yung third-party services. Tapos mga overhead cost mo, yung sa power. Then kung separate pa nga, third-party yung model making, then yung profit mo, yung fee mo. It's also based on hourly rate and based on yung premium na yan based dun sa experience din ng designer. No, if you're a neophyte designer, no, bago ka pa lang, you're still in the industry, late, konti pa lang yung mo, but you're very confident that you could design for someone, then you rate yourself. Magkano ba dapat ang hourly rate ko? Okay? So, syempre, hindi bababa ng yan. No? Magkano ba yung hourly rate pagka nag-ano ka? No? Pagka siguro, let's say, mga 300 pesos, pinakamababa na dapat yon per hour. Gaano katagal mo gagawin? Okay? So sa mga matataas na ng experience na designer, siguro, mag-charge na sila ng mga 2,000 hourly rate. Pero iba higher than that pa. Okay? So, it depends on the other expenses na dumadagdag. Kung yung office mo nasa Ayala, sa Twin Tower building dyan sa Ayala or na malaki ang binabayaran ng rent, kasama yan dito. no, you have to depreciate it, break it down into services. Okay? So yan yon. Okay? So of course you add VAT, no, to your contract price. And ito naman, if you want to charge royalty. So people are asking, paano ba namin sa charge yung, paano ba bini-breakdown yung royalty? No? Of course, yung royalty, kinukuha lang dyan yung head designer's fee at saka profit. Yan lang yung sina-charge as royalty. But all your other expenses would have to be charged initially. No? So ito siya. No? So lahat yung materials ganun na sinabi mo, i-charge mo separately yan. Then you break down your royalty fee based on the monthly quantity. No? But before doing the royalty proposal, you have to know the quantity, no? Na hindi ka naman lugi. No? Sasabihin sa'yo ng malaki quantity nito, no? O kaya sa tingin ko lalaki pa ito. So pagka lumaki pa yung benta nito, lalaki pa yung profit ko. Okay? Halimbawa, projected nila is only 1,000 per month. Then you compute it, you break it down, no? Per unit, meron kang approximately, ito nakalagay, no? Standard retail price, from the standard retail price, approximately 1 to 3% lang. So, maliit lang yan, ha? Paano kung malaki pala volume niyan? No? Halimbawa, nag-design ka ng isang monoblock chair. So, sasabihin mo, royalty na lang yan. Tapos bumenta siya ng 100,000. No? Okay? So, magkano yung retail price nun? No? Then multiply it by 100,000. Yan laki ng kita mo. Okay? But you have to know the intended volume. But the manufacturer, kung alam nila malaki volume, naku, malaki kikitain to pagka naka-royalty, they would have rather pay you upfront. Okay? Pero minsan wala rin silang pera. Meron silang projected na alam nila bebenta ito. So sasabihin mo, sige, kung wala kang pera, ito lang muna bayaran mo yung pay only my current expenses, and for my designer's fee, I'll have it as royalty. So you'll be helping out kasi he will not shell out a big amount of money. So every time he sells, may ka doon. Pero make sure that you kasama sa contract nyo that you would have to be informed of the sale of the product. Alam mo yung volume. May nire-report sa'yo na dumarating. Bumenta to ng 30,000 this month. O di alam mo na agad yung kikitain mo. You should be able to get that information, and it has to be stipulated in the contract. Okay? So yun yung mga guidelines when you're doing royalty. And a lot of people are also designers are doing this for startup companies, no? Meron mga startup companies na sa tingin mo na parang pagka na-produce to, lalaki ito, it will be known, no? So it's giving you the opportunity. You're helping out that manufacturer to start up and looking at your profitability far ahead, no? So basically, mas kikita ka dyan pag nag-royalty ka for that specific costing or method of payment. Okay? So, yan lang ang natin. Ayun. Do you have other questions or medyo nabulunan na or something? Oh, guys.
If you have questions, raise nyo na. Unless available si sir for private consultation.
Pwede naman kayo mag-message sa akin if you have Pero of course, I will not give you definite answers. I'll just give you a way on how to get those information. Kasi meron nagtatanong sa akin, sir, alam niyo naman mag-costing ng plastic eh. Pwede costingan niyo na lang ako. Pa-costingan niyo na lang ako. Marami nang gumawa nun eh, no? Pero of course, I will not give you that luxury, no? Because it's part of your research learning process, no? To be able to get that, no? Hindi ako nagbibigay ng ganong information. And probably outdated na yung alam ko information because I left Panasonic in 2012. That's about 8 years ago na. So what I know probably is baka outdated na. Okay? But I'll just give you a way on how you could basically do it or acquire those information. No? I could just help you out in some way, no? Pero hindi it's not hindi ko ibibigay lahat sa inyo. It's not like handing you out the exact answers. Okay? You have to do the legwork. Okay?
Sir, ako may question.
Yes, Stan.
Sir, regarding dyan, yung like for example ngayon dahil may pandemic, may magbabago ba sa cost? Like tataas, bababa? Or parang ganun?
Sa ang aspect sa manufacturing?
Yes, sir.
So sa manufacturing kasi, depende pa rin yan kung bumaba yung volume. So usually it's everything still the same. Like what you heard from other companies, kahit wala yung workers sa office, sinisweldohan pa rin nila. Okay? So hindi sila nag-change ng they're following they're just giving their employees some opportunity to be safe, no? So yung mga office works na non-essential, they let them have it done at home, di ba? Sa bahay na ginagawa. But their salary is still the same. Hindi nababago, hindi it's against the law of labor laws to reduce the salary of your employees unless you have a contract that says you agree with it, no? So ibig sabihin yung pa rin ang sweldo. So pwede ka pa rin basically mag-demand as an employee to maintain your salary unless na there's a way for the employee to kick you out or probably they offer parang retirement fees, no? So they'll be parang redundancy, yung mga ganon. They'll take out some employees, no? But it's sort of a cost down measures, yung parang mga last options nila for the company not to close down. Okay? But they would have to apply it sa labor.
I mean, sir, like, di ba syempre, for yung mga overhead, like the rent of spaces, kung kunyari may head office na hindi pumapasok or work from home, tapos syempre iba yung nasa factory nila or sa manufacturing area nila, magre-reduce ba yung cost kasi wala yung yung head office na let's say hindi sila gumagamit ng kuryente doon ngayon dahil nga wala sila?
Oh, but like for example, the air conditioner is not shut down. Nag-ooperate pa rin yung mga air conditioners. Probably they'll be doing some cost measures kasi basically yung sales nila bumaba din. Diba? Because of yung quantity, yung mga tao rather than spending on appliances, they would rather maintain their current appliances. So yung parang na-hold yung mga spendings. So yung quantity, yung volume, bababa yun. And pag bumaba yun, bababa din yung profitability nila. So basically, hindi rin sila nakaka-reduce, nakaka-save. Hindi rin sila nakaka-save. So it's more of expenses on the side of the doon sa manufacturer, and also considering na kailangan ipaswab pa nila yung mga employees nila, i-provide nila ng mga hospital benefits for those who are affected. So parang lumalaki pa rin yung expenses nila kahit wala yung tao sa office. Of course, you're still demanding your employees to produce yung the same quality of service that they are giving. Ang lang, they're working at home. Parang yung ginagawa natin as a teacher, di ba? Parang gano'n. We're working at home but we're not compromising on the quality of learning. So parang it's supposed to be the same.
Sir, for the sake of our output dito sa COMPREX, do we have to consider and factor those numbers in? na yung volume bababa with the COVID, or hindi na muna natin, pwede namin hindi muna i-regard yun and we'll just
I
use
suggest you don't because this is a temporary situation, yung pandemic, no? When everything settles down, hindi pa naman lalabas yung product mo eh. Let's say it will probably yung mold, i-design mo pa lang ngayon, di ba? So probably it will take 6 months before you could produce the product. So probably by that time baka may ano na, no? Baka okay na. So pag sinabi sa iyo ng jurors yun, you explain it like that. We don't always do our costing based on the current situation because we're looking far ahead. We're not computing it based on the current situation.
Understood. Okay.
Anyone else? May question pa?
Anyone else?
Going once, going twice. Okay na? Okay. Yun.
Okay na.
Yes, sir. Sir, thank you very much for
Okay.
your time. 2 hours din po yun. Ayun. Tapos,
tama, ganyan din talaga umaabot yung mga seminars ko. Umaabot
yes.
din ng 2 oras.
Tsaka, sir, baka may follow through pa yung sa technical drawing.
So, if necessary, if everyone demands, it's okay.
Yes, sir. Isa-schedule na lang, sa-schedule na lang namin. Kung kailan.
Sige, no problem. Let's continue with that. Parang review lang naman yan ng technical drawing.
Yes, sir. Ayun.
Sige, just let me know. Alam mo naman yung yung schedule ko, availability.
Yes, sir. Thank you po.
Okay, sige. If no more questions, thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Okay, guys. Salamat din sa pag-attend.
Okay.
Thank you.
Miss Tani, I have a question.
Yes.
So nakita ko sa presentation ni Sir, hulay pala si engineering mechanical drawings, tsaka hiwalay rin si technical drawings. So, ang required lang ata sa atin is yung technical drawings naman,
yes.
Miss Tani.
Yes.
So yung mechanisms inside, kahit kahit hindi nakasama yun, yung outer hull lang ng product, like yun lang ba yung kailangan?
Well, kung may mga papagawa kayo na motor na kayo yung nag-specs, kayo yung gagawa ng specs, kailangan. Pero if it's already available in the market, hindi mo na kailangan siya gawa ng...
Okay.
Yun.
Sige. Eto miss, for like something mechanical as like a switch or like a valve ng yung nasa fountain, kailangan ko pa yung i-include sa technical drawing ko, yung yung mechanism na yun?
Kailangan mo lang siyang i-drawing. I mean, kung meron namang usually may available naman na parang kung hindi yun nga, kung hindi siya yung sayo na hindi ikaw yung gagawa, kung readily available in the market, kahit overall dimensions lang siya, okay lang. Actually kasi lalabas lang naman siya sa specs. For example, switch. Tapos kung ilang quantity, kung ano yung material, and then kung paano yung manufacturing, susulat yun lang, readily available in the market.
Okay. So, okay. Yun lang yung gusto kong malaman actually, yung specificity ng gano'ng kalalim yung technical drawing. Kasi yung nga parang for those mechanisms na gano'n, kung pwede naman palang yung gumamit ka mo ng outsource or hindi naman pala pwede kailangan isama talaga.
Yun, kasi di ba meron kayong magiging isometric exploded na part ng drawing. Even the screws, kailangan kasama siya. So, syempre, yung mga screws naman, available naman. So, hindi mo kailangan i-specify or hindi mo kailangan ng technical drawing for that. Kailangan lang nandun siya dun, kasi may mga CAD blocks naman na available, di ba? So, pwede nyo lang siya isingit doon. Na naka-scale down or yung specific na size niya nandun. Pero hindi nyo naman siya papamanufacture. Basta nandun lang siya.
Alright, sige.
Got it?
Got it, yep. Thank you.
Yun, meron pang questions yung iba? Okay na tayo? Wala pala akong video, wait lang. Ba't wala akong
Oh, wait,
video?
last. Sorry.
Sige,
Yung
ano?
ano pala, yung electronic, anong tawag doon? Yung circuit, anong tawag doon? Yung parang working drawing ng mga electronics, yung schematic.
Ah,
Kasama pa rin ba yun?
kung kailangan, pwede ka naman magpatulong na sa electrical. Hindi mo naman kailangan solohin na ikaw yung gagawa.
Alright. Pero like, hindi naman kailangan sobrang official na, no, miss? Like a parang
Usually,
concept map of...
you just have to, parang concept map and then kung how, the wattage and the voltage, kung ilan lang, yun lang. Mga ano lang, yung hanggang sa kung ilang watts at saka or ilang volts lang yung kailangan. Yun lang yung nandun. Pero the diagram itself, hindi naman Ang
okay.
we are industrial designers, we are not engineers. So,
Alright.
diba?
Yeah. You got it. Sige.
Wait lang. From Nico, do I need to make a technical drawing for a standard faucet for a drum water catcher? Kung hindi, ayun, again, if it's already available in the market, hindi mo siya kailangan na meron siyang specific na usually overall dimensions lang yung kailangan. So, technically, the drawing nyo pa rin siya, pero hindi na siya as detailed as the other parts na kayo yung magmamanufacture.
Parang pwede na siya maging solid lang na object.
Yes.
Alright. Okay.
Yun lang. Okay na? We're good? Okay, sige. Thank you.
Hi, miss. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye, bros.